Hello, viewers. In light of recent events and to help you understand why there's a bunch of people in jail, I've decided to do a common sense mainstream media recap of what drove the situation. So here I have a picture of basically a standard police where the police are just watching for, speeders and whatnot. They have the standard what looks like one, maybe two, three, four, five, six, seven. There could be another vehicle or two behind, kind of hidden behind the trees. The picture's not very good, so I'd say between 7 and 10 vehicles there. It's pretty standard when watching for speeders. And as you can tell from the photo, it's also standard to have sur a surveillance aircraft along the highway. So anyways, this photo is basically the start of where they notice that the the truck that Lavoie is driving is missing, is has a might have a tail light out. And the next picture here, as you can see, they've been stopped. And over here you can see all the officers with directional their directional light meters measuring the brightness intensity of the tail lights of the truck. And they also have a dog here too, because the dogs are useful when determining the contrast and brightness of the tail light. The reason they're not up at the truck, talking to them about right now they're probably yelling at them, telling them your tail lights out, your tail lights out. But but before they can really go up to them, they have to actually measure to make sure that the tail light actually is out, so they can't really go near the truck. Over here you see this guy's taking measurements from a different angle. It's looks like that light could be a little bit dimmer than normal, so they could actually have a tail light out. As you can see, they have dark vehicles that they're not necessarily marked very well. It's to make it easier to when they do come across a vehicle where the tail light's out, that it's easier to measure because you don't have any lights reflecting off of your vehicle. Yeah, and you can see there's a whole, and all the officers it takes to do this. Now, as probably didn't notice, Lavoie didn't really care, didn't want to get his tail light replaced, so obviously he took off. And you know, amazingly enough, there was a group of people that had been on a camping trip and they were returning. And they all happened to be armed police officers, and it's kind of funny. The driver of one of the vehicles just had the sudden urge to, you know, it's like he had explosive diarrhea or something. So he slammed on the brakes, and they all stopped there in the middle of the road. He somehow, but he took the time to take all the keys out of these vehicles because he'd been tricked before and was afraid he'd be left behind. And so, all the rest of the guys in the vehicles weren't able to move the vehicles off to the side of the road. So they were just parked there. And as you can see, here's the truck that's Lavoie's driving. It looks like he's swerving. You know, it's you kind of have to swerve to get out of the way, but you know, when when you're traveling fast down the highway. Now, this guy right here, you know, you see him kind of blurry. He also suddenly had the urge, you know, suddenly had explosive diarrhea, and he just happened to run out at the exact same time that Lavoie was, you know, coming up towards these parked cars, and it looks like he, you know, it was just a little unfortunate event, but you know, it's possible. It looks like Lavoie was probably trying to, you know, he was turning off this side, but this guy, you know, he really had to, you know, he really had to go. And as you can see here, here's the guy that was, obviously he probably crapped his pants when that, you know, realizing that when he noticed the truck came, when he came running out and he almost ran out in front of it. And right here, now the problem is when you know, Lavoie got out of the truck, and as you can see, his hands his hands looks like they're up, but what he really has is gun fingers. He's holding he's pretending to be shooting in all directions, and you know, he said, you know, when he got out, he said, "I don't want to replace my tail light," and that's when he pulled out his gun fingers and started yelling, "Bang, bang, bang!" And you know, all these officers mistake them his gun fingers for real guns. As you can see, this guy right here is running away from the guy over here who's crapping his pants. The smell is just awful, but he's also trying to protect the rest of the guys over here from Lavoie and his gun fingers. As you can see here this guy is, you know, trying, you know, thinking he's sacrificing himself for the lives of all the rest of the guys here. You know, it's amazing what you can run into on your way home from a law enforcement, you know, a police officer camping trip. And then Lavoie here is apparently reaching down into his coat to pretend to reload his finger guns. And he's doing that here, and this is when, you know, this officer sees his chance. You know, since he's reloading, that's the best time. That's when you got your chance to, you know, stop this guy. But he doesn't. He still hasn't realized that Lavoie just had gun fingers. But and over here, you see this guy over here. He's the guy that had to take a crap. That's why he's running out from the tree line. And you know, as you can see, he's pulling his pants up. That's why his arm is out. He kind of tripped because he was you know, he was startled when the boy came out with his bang fingers, his gun fingers. And as you can see, you know, they shot him. And there he's lying. The boy's lying there. You know, this guy's, you know, still got this guy here with his gun. And then these guys, they're still measuring the light intensity of the tail light there. It's pretty dangerous to have a tail light that's out. That's one. That's that's what they noticed after they got stopped Lavoy and his gun fingers. You know, right here you can see they're trying to measure the light intensity from a different angle. You know, these vehicles are a little more colorful, so it's, you know, a little more difficult. You know, they're not the dark vehicle type. Oh, I just went back. As you can see right here, you can see the red dot on the Lavoy here. That's actually them calibrating the directional light meter. You know, they do it on something that's not producing light. That way they can figure out for certain if the tail light is out. Now in this photo, you know, as you can see, because there were other people in the car, it was only Lavoy that they were going after, but they wanted to get the people out because it's dangerous to have a tail light out, and so the officers were, you know, they decided to practice getting people out of vehicles that are supposedly dangerous. So and they wanted to teach the passengers in the car how dangerous that was. So as you can see, they're pointing their guns at her, and I think that's the dog. Maybe not. I'm not sure. And yeah, you see her stepping back, and the officers kind of move a bit. Her hands in the air. They recognize it. You know, she's not gun fingered, and you see all these officers here watching too. They had, you know, some of them came from the other vehicles that had previously stopped him for having a tail light that was out. Let's see, wait a second, what am I missing? Yeah, as you see here, all right, let me go back. Yeah, as you see here, they're here around the Voy. You know, and there's all the officers here. You know, for that, it's just was a, you know, and here's all the, you know, they're all, some of them are from the first stop. You know, this is just all for standard for pulling people over for speeding. I mean, except for this group of cars here, they were just stopping because that one guy had to take a crap. Oh yeah, here we go. This is the picture I was looking for because, as you can see, they're still trying to figure out, you know, these guys are still trying to figure out if the tail light was out, and they have the dog right here to help measure the brightness. And these guys are taking care of Lavoy here. And it looks like they managed to completely disable, turn off the electricity of the vehicle because it's dangerous to have a tail light out. And there we go. That's the mainstream, the common sense mainstream media recap of what happened to get events where they currently exist.